and welcome to another episode of In Real Life with Edrina. I have a very special guest today, and we're going to be talking all about social media for the entrepreneur. My guest is Meredith of Meredith Raber Virtual Services, and she is a female entrepreneur with social media, project management, and office operations background. She has 11 years of corporate advertising experience coupled with 3 years entrenched in the online business industry. She provides strategic marketing direction as well as managing day-to-day tasks so business owners can focus on the core of their business. Meredith's goal is to serve as a trusted partner and build long-term relationships with her clients. She is a mother of 3, including one adorable newborn girl, and she lives over in Redondo Beach. I would like to welcome you, Meredith, to In Real Life with Edrina.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm so excited too. First off, as entrepreneurs, we all have a why as to what is the real reason behind why we are in business. So I would like to first ask you, what is your why? What is it that drives you in your business?
Well, it all started when I was in corporate advertising. As you said, I was in corporate advertising for 10 years. And I loved my job. I was a corporate girl all the way. And I just realized that my long hours were just not working for my family anymore. I had my second son, so then I had 2 kids, and I live in LA, so there was a commute. And although I love my job, it just wasn't happening. I wasn't seeing my family enough. So my why is definitely my family. I took a pause after my second son, but I had all these skills that I wanted to use, and I still wanted to work because I love serving clients. And while I took that pause, I found the world of online business, and I was like, what am I doing? I need to get in here. So that's when Meredith Raber Virtual Assistant Services was created. I just started researching what I could do, and my main goal with starting was making a big impact on small businesses. So using all my marketing, advertising skills that I had honed for the last 10 years to help small business owners. So yeah, that's my why.
It's so funny because it's like I totally relate to you when it comes to like the fact that I was also commuting in my corporate job before, and it's just like all that time you're spending on the road, I'm like, I could be doing so many more other things while I am just, sitting here in traffic. And so I can't even imagine how it is with having 2 littles at home as well as a husband. So that adds like an extra layer of I'd rather be home and see them and spend time with them. So I totally get that as to like why behind your business. So when it comes to social media management and just the whole process of putting yourself out there online for others to see, what would be like the very first thing that you would kind of recommend to entrepreneurs in order to get their social media presence going?
Yes, so when you're getting started, it's so overwhelming. You don't know what platform to be on, where your target audience is, and I feel like people just start on a platform, whatever it is, and just start posting. And there's no strategy, they're just doing what they think they should be doing. But really what's important is to think, who are you trying to target? Where are your services, service or product, depending on what you sell, your brand, who are you trying to get and who are you trying to sell to? And figure out where they are. So if they're on Instagram, that's great. Only do Instagram. I think another thing that we hear a lot is we need to be everywhere, but we really don't. You don't need to. As a small business owner, you don't have the time. Even if you have help, you don't have the time. So it's not like you need to be on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, everything. I would just pick one platform and do it well. And I think that is a small bite that, new entrepreneurs can start with. And just starting with one platform and moving forward from there is really where I would start.
I love that advice because even for me, when I first started my business, I was like, okay, I need to do Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, this and that, and make sure I have a presence on LinkedIn and all of the things. And it's like, oh my gosh, wait a second. Like, first off, I realized very quickly that I was more attracted to Instagram when I was first starting my business, even though I've been on like social media for over 10 years. I think I started with Facebook and Twitter, and I really enjoyed those platforms. But then as a small business owner, I really started to feel like I was getting more traction from Instagram. So, even just by being able to identify like what you feel, is the better option for your ideal clients, I think that's very key in getting started with social media. So I want to talk a little bit about the idea of content planning and batch working. And so, we hear this thrown around a lot in the online business space. And so I would like to kind of just ask you, what is content planning and what is batch work? What does that mean for social media?
So basically what that means is planning your posts and captions ahead of time. And I think one of the main things I hear from clients always is that they're overwhelmed by thinking ahead. But if you really sit back and think about how much time it takes you to come up with a post and a picture every day, you're going to really see that planning ahead is going to save you time in the long run. And basically, it can start with, say you're just starting out. You're doing 2 posts a week, 3 posts a week. All it is really getting those posts and your strategy together and outlining them for yourself. And once you get, practice at it, you've got your hashtags down, you could plan out a whole month of content in, 2 to 3 hours, and you're done for the whole month. You can schedule it and you're done. Also, what I love about it is that when you're content planning, you're looking at your month as a whole. You're not just, okay, today is Tuesday, I'm going to post something about my services today, and then tomorrow I'm going to post a picture of my family. Like, when you're content planning, you're saying, okay, the first post is going to be service-based. My second post is going to be my freebie. My third post is going to be something personal. So you're seeing how it's laying out and how your audience is receiving the content versus just posting whatever it is. So that's very helpful too, because now you're creating a strategy behind what you're posting. You're not just posting on a whim. And also, you can see what posts work and what don't. So say you post your first month and you do 12 posts and you look at them and you say, 2 of the 12 did great. Okay, let's do more of those next month, whatever it was. Your service post did great, so let's add more of those into the mix next month. So you're creating your strategy as you're going and you're seeing what works and what doesn't work.
That's great. So a couple questions for you on that point. So my first question is, what would you say to people who feel like they really need to post every single day on social media?
I think it depends on your business. I definitely work with clients that post every day, but I definitely work with clients who don't, and they're both equally as successful. I think it depends on what your brand is, what your product is, what your service is. But if you're definitely starting out, every day is a lot to take on. I would say any recommendation for me if you're starting out is 3 times a week. If you can get 3 posts out 3 times a week on your chosen platform, you are winning as a small business owner, especially if you're doing it on your own. I don't think you need to have the goal of 7 days a week until you're used to it, you're planning ahead, you've done 5, that worked really well, and now you're moving up to 7. So I don't think that that's needed at the beginning at all.
Yeah, that's so funny. My goal right now is 3 posts, and that's it, because that's really all I have enough bandwidth for and enough attention for. But I forgot the question I was going to ask. Oh, I know. So when you were talking about the idea of analyzing what posts performed well after you've posted 12 posts for that given month, when I look at my analytics, I normally find that I get a lot of traction if a picture of me is in the post, and it's the weirdest thing sometimes for me, because I'm like, wait, but I really felt like this other post was super helpful. And then it didn't get as much traction as it did with a picture of me. And so I was wondering if you could speak to that a little bit.
It always happens. Everybody wants to see the person behind the brand. Like every client I have, especially the ones that maybe don't like being in photos or on videos, I'm always like, I know you don't like it, but like people want to see it. Like people want to see you.
Yeah.
I'm not in front of the camera kind of girl. It's hard for me too, but people care. Like people want to see you. They want to see your photos. They want to see what you're doing. They want to see your stories. So they always do better. Like no matter what, I feel like it comes up for everyone. And I think it's just because you know you're personalizing it. You're seeing who's behind the brand, who's behind the services, what they're really doing, what they're really like. So it always does really well.
Yeah, I think it also, adds to like building yourself as a brand. So, like maybe you're not necessarily sure on like a product or a service that you're offering, or maybe you're offering one thing and you wanted to pivot, but how can you pivot if you're just branding around that one thing? So it's helpful to start thinking in terms of maybe I just brand around myself and then allow the product and services to flow naturally based off of what your audience is looking for. Because I think even that can change over time. Social media is even one of those things that kind of changes and evolves through time as well.
Exactly.
So when it comes to researching your ideal client, what kind of things can entrepreneurs do when they are first starting out and thinking through, who is it that I am serving?
I think in the beginning, most people get down, if it's male or female, if they're a certain age, if they're college educated or not, and they're the basic demographics, they can get down pretty easily. But I think what's important when it comes to social media strategy is really finding out more specific characteristics of your ideal client, which doesn't always come up. If you just started, you might not really know. When I first started out, I was thinking, female entrepreneurs, but I don't know exactly everything about them. And the more you work with them, I think a good way to think about it too is, who have I worked with that I've loved? And like, those are the clients I'm after. Mine, for example, usually tend to be moms. They also tend to be very passionate, driven women. They also used to be in corporate a lot of the time. And some of these small things may seem like small things, but you can speak to them. When you're writing your captions, you can speak specifically to motherhood and, balancing your business and motherhood. So those are really important characteristics to know about your ideal client. And from there, you can kind of break it down even further about certain things that they might like that you like too. I just had a baby, so a lot of people are reaching out to me about the baby because they're moms too. So it's just touch points to figure out who your community is.
Definitely. When I was first starting off, like with the blogging and the posting and everything, I had two very specific people in mind when I was writing those posts, because I'm like, if I had the opportunity to talk to these two people, like about budgeting or finances or accounting, what exactly would I say to them? And that helped a lot frame like what I would say in my social media posts. So just exactly what you're saying, narrowing it down, even if it is a family member, like use that and then go with it.
Yes. And I love what you said about thinking of your ideal client. If there's someone that you haven't worked with yet that you want to work with, that's perfect, because that's who you're trying to talk to. So I think that's a perfect exercise too, is to think, if I was talking to them, what would I say? And, I think that's perfect too.
Yeah, that's great. So when it comes to like the engagement and actually building a community on social media, what are some key takeaways that we can use kind of today and maybe think about in the future when we're planning out our social media posts?
So when it comes to engagement and community, everybody always looks at your follower count. Like I need to have thousands of people to have a successful business, but it's just not the case. And some people who have thousands of followers do not have a successful business just because they have filler followers, people who aren't going to buy their services, aren't going to buy their products. So what's really important is building your community of qualified followers, which is very different than just followers in general. So qualified followers would be someone who's actually going to purchase from you, or at least they're in your network. as online business owners, Edrina, I'm sure you're doing it too, we have tons of people in our network that are also online business owners that potentially down the road we could be working with. Maybe they don't need you right now, but we're building community. We're knowing what they're doing. We're engaging with their content. And sharing it, when it's great, when you have great, bookkeeping information, I share it, and I share it to my audience because that's not something I currently provide. So I think that engaging with them, even if they're not your ideal client, even if you're just building relationships, that's what social media is for. So, and also I think something that's funny that people forget is social media is supposed to be social. Like, you're supposed to go on there and chat with people and like their stuff and engage with their content. And I think that's kind of lost sometimes on small business owners because we're so overwhelmed on how do I get my business out there? Who's going to be watching me? Am I going to get likes? Am I only going to get 2 likes? It's going to be embarrassing kind of thing. When really, even if one person's listening to you, they're your community, like you have to build, everyone starts from zero. I remember putting my logo out there for my first post, and that's just what happens. Everybody starts with nobody. And also, as far as community building and engaging, it's really important not to just post your post for the day and run. You need to post and then engage with other people's posts so that, people are seeing you, they're seeing you talk. Also, engagement's huge. If you're not engaging with other people's content, liking, commenting, sharing, you're probably not going to get it reciprocated unless you have a very, very large audience. And so that's kind of how you gain your community, how you gain your audience. What I like to do is I like to look for my ideal client, and I engage with all their content. Female entrepreneurs, lots of coaches. I like to look at all their stuff, and I'm looking at it anyways because it pertains to me, a lot of business coaches and stuff. And then I'm engaging with them, and then they're getting to know me. They're going to recognize that, that she's sharing my content, that sort of thing. And that's how you build relationships. And that's how you get on podcasts and you help people, refer them to other people. It's all about community.
Yeah, definitely. Sharing is caring.
Yes.
It's so funny that you say that earlier on, like when I was starting to post social media and only got just a little bit of traction, I think I was caring a lot about that. And then, fast forward to now, I'm like, I don't care if it reaches 2 people or if it reaches 12 people. I'm still going to produce this content because I know it's relevant to those 2 people or those 12 people or whatever the case is. And so I totally stopped caring about like who's, how many people are liking my post, how many people are commenting, because I know that I have engaged followers in my DMs and I know that I'm reaching out on social media. And I think for me, like with the social media thing, I think engaging on DMs in Instagram is like my favorite thing to do. It's totally like my favorite pastime. And I feel like, that's speaking to exactly what you're talking about, and building that community and reaching out to other entrepreneurs and knowing what they're going through. And I did have a fellow entrepreneur friend, probably about a year ago. She had maybe 7,000 or so, between 7,000 to 8,000 followers on Instagram. And she actually decided earlier this year, that she was going to actually create a new Instagram page because the people who were following her in that 7,000, 8,000 range weren't her ideal client. And she just felt like, this is not going to get me anywhere. And so she wanted to create a new page so that way it would reach the people that she is looking for. And, props to her for doing that. It's like, I can't even imagine, thinking of like, okay, let's create another one. I'm like, I can't even imagine doing that. But I think she's doing so much better in her Instagram post. She's getting a lot of traction from her ideal client, which is amazing.
And that's the key, right? You want to provide valuable content to the people you service. You don't really care about the people that aren't wanting your content or finding it valuable. So even if 5 people are following you, if they're engaged and they're interested and down the line they might work with you, that matters. That's important. The filler people are not important.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I really appreciate you having this conversation with me. And I know that you do offer social media management as part of one of your services. So maybe if people are interested in that, you can speak to that a little bit as far as like what you offer, what you do. And then I think you have a freebie for us too.
Yeah. Yes, for social media management, I offer pretty much all services. So I do content planning, repurposing of content, engagement. A lot of people need help with engaging if they have large following, creating graphics, everything, and overall managing all your social media. So if you need any help with that, I also do audits, which some people like because it's a little bit, they'll get a little bit of direction and then they can do everything else themselves. So that's something you could look into too. And yes, I have a freebie. One of the main concerns I always hear from clients is, I don't know what to post. And I stand there at my phone thinking like, I need to post something today because this has to be my third post of the week, but I don't know what. So I put together 25 content ideas that you can take, personalize them, and plan a whole month of content in advance for your own business. So I think you'll have that you'll have a link for that.
For sure. I will for sure have links below in the description box, and then we'll also link back to Meredith's Instagram page so you can give her a follow on Instagram and engage with her in her DMs. I love it. I love having like freebies that kind of help guide you because, you know, especially in the early days, you're just like, I really don't know what to post and I know I need to post something, but what do I say? So I love that you have a freebie put together for that specific situation. Well, thank you so much, Meredith. I'm so glad that we were able to do this today.
No problem. I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. Well, I will see you all in the next episode of In Real Life with Edrina. Have a good day.